Do you deny that you shot Brodus Perry?
I do not.
Do you deny that you shot Tabitha?
I don't, but I know it wasn't intentional.
Did you mean to shoot Tabitha?
No, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
She stood in their living room, gun warm in her hands, uttering, "You broke my heart." What unfolded in that Collierville, Tennessee apartment in April 2019 revealed something sinister. This was a twisted web of manipulation, lies, and ethical non-monogamy that left one man dead, one woman wounded, and another facing consequences. The woman holding that gun was Latoshia Daniels, a 46-year-old licensed social worker specializing in anger management, someone whose career was built around helping others control violent impulses. She owned the Root Behavioral Health Clinic in Little Rock, Arkansas, counseling patients on managing emotions. She held a Doctor of Social Work degree from Walden University, focusing on relational aggression among adolescent African American females. The woman who taught others rage management had unleashed violence from her own uncontrolled emotions. But the man bleeding out on that floor wasn't just any man. He was Pastor Brodus Perry, a 36-year-old executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis, a spiritual leader for his congregation. He came from a multi-generational ministry family, with his grandfather serving as pastor for over 6 decades and his father for nearly 20 years. Yet, what transpired between him and Daniels would expose a disturbing side of pastoral counseling. Their connection began innocently enough. Daniels had been struggling in her second marriage, a union she described as emotionally barren and distant.
Now, I want to talk to you about your second marriage, okay? That was to Brian.
Yes.
Now, how long were you married to Brian?
I was married to Brian for 8 years.
Was that relationship positive?
No.
Did you feel loved in that relationship?
No.
Did you feel wanted in that relationship?
Not at all.
Would you describe Brian as being emotionally distant?
He very much was so.
Emotionally neglectful?
Yes.
Did you try to get Brian to go into marriage counseling?
Yes, we had a discussion and he didn't want to do it.
She was desperate for connection, for someone to understand her pain, and so she turned to Pastor Brodus Perry for counseling, seeking spiritual guidance and emotional support. She met him at St. Mark's Baptist Church in Little Rock, where he led life groups and served as pastor of assimilation. But what happened during those counseling sessions would forever alter both their lives.
I just needed some spiritual guidance on direction.
Did Pastor Perry agree to meet with you?
He did.
Where did y'all meet?
We met in my office.
Why?
I didn't feel comfortable with being in the church, and I wanted to be in a safe space because this was, again, something that I was not fully embracing, that I had to deal with, and I wanted to be in a space where I knew that I can be able to be vulnerable.
During the first counseling session, what did you discuss?
Everything that was going on within my marriage.
How long was the first counseling session?
It was about 2 hours.
According to Daniel's testimony, something shifted during their second private counseling session.
What happened after you started the counseling session?
As I was talking and sharing, Brodus reached over and grabbed, I had a 2-arm chair, and he pulled me toward him and began to passionately kiss me. And from there, in that session, we did have sex for the first time.
Were you proud of that encounter?
In hindsight, no, but at that time, he was giving me everything that I had been missing for a long time.
This was the beginning of something that would spiral out of control, transforming a professional counseling relationship into a full-blown extramarital affair. And what makes this situation more twisted, Perry allegedly convinced Daniels this was acceptable because he claimed he and his wife, Tabitha Archie, were practicing ethical non-monogamy. He told Daniels that his wife had consented to an open marriage, that she was okay with him having relationships with other women, that she had even given him a pass for certain people. He framed it as enlightened and progressive. But here's the explosive revelation that came out during trial.
Did you believe that Brodus was being open and transparent and honest with you about his relationship with Latasha?
What relationship?
He wasn't being open with you about his relationship with Latasha, right? That there was a relationship at all.
Right.
He was not transparent about that.
There was nothing, to my knowledge, there was no relationship.
Tabitha Archie testified under oath that she had no knowledge of any affair, no knowledge of any open marriage arrangement. When she took the stand, she demolished every claim Perry had made.
In your relationship with Brodus, did you outline rules for him on being able to seek out a girlfriend? Like, no one from Jacksonville, no one from where we live. Did you make those rules up? No. So that was not true.
Not true.
Were you the one who initiated the conversation about Latasha?
Yeah.
Did you ever reach out to Latasha about Brodus engaging with her?
No.
Did he ever talk to you about wanting a watcher, as he described here?
No.
Did you ever agree to having a watcher, as he discussed here?
No.
The jury was shown video clips Perry had recorded discussing ethical non-monogamy. But Archie's testimony painted a different picture, one of a woman blindsided by her husband's betrayal.
Your opinion matters to me because we were in this relationship, but at the same time, like I said before from the outset, I want to be respectful, but I also want to let you know that, your opinion matters. But at the same time, I don't want you to put me in a box, right? Because while we talk about it in theory, this is now the practice part. And with a tab being perfectly fine with, the situation, because how I've handled and been honest and transparent and open with her with regard to this current relationship, me expanding it is not an issue for me. Basically, she told me, we can talk about it when you think.
This was a man who preached about honesty and integrity while constructing an elaborate web of deceit. This was a spiritual leader who was supposed to guide people toward righteousness. Yet he allegedly used his position to initiate and maintain an inappropriate sexual relationship with a vulnerable woman seeking help during a dark period. The affair between Pastor Brodus Perry and Latoshia Daniels continued after Perry relocated to Memphis in late 2018 for his role as executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. Despite the distance, the relationship persisted, fueled by Perry's frequent trips to Arkansas.
Before Brodus left, did he give you his new address in Memphis?
Yes.
Now, I want to talk to you about after they moved, okay?
Okay.
Did your relationship with Brodus Perry continue after he moved to Memphis?
Yes.
Would Brodus come back to Little Rock?
He would.
Do you know why he would come? Why he would come back?
Yes. The main reason why he would come back is because of his orthodontics appointments, and then also he was building up a business and a consulting business, and he was beginning to get. He had one client that he was coming back to begin to do some consulting with.
What would happen when he came in town between the two of y'all?
We would meet up at the hotel and hang out.
I want to, and was that he would come in town and he would contact you?
Yes.
And y'all would get together?
Yes.
According to Daniel's testimony, Perry used these trips to maintain their sexual relationship, meeting her at hotels, but the dynamic between them began to shift. The relationship that once made Daniels feel wanted took on darker characteristics, leaving her feeling used and desperate. One incident in March 2019 proved significant.
Did you meet him at the hotel?
I did.
Do you recall what hotel?
I think it may have been Spring Hill.
What happened after you went to the hotel?
The first time I went to the hotel, it was, just a drop off. He had asked me to bring him, to go buy him something to eat and to stop by and get him some bourbon. After I brought that to him, we made an agreement to meet up later on. I had called him And as it was getting later, and say, hey, what time are we going to meet up? And he was just like, I don't know, I'll let you know. But he never called. So I was at home and I was like, I'm just gonna break up with him. Like, I'm not gonna do this treatment. Like, it's no.
When she finally saw him, what transpired left her feeling violated.
That was one of the times that I still had my clothes on. So of course, when he got in there, he's like, why you still got clothes on? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I got undressed. I did tell him, I said, I was coming to break up with you because of the way you're treating me. And he laughed it off and was like, well, why didn't you? And I was like, because you know I really do love you. He came over to the bed, started tickling me. We laughed it off. And then as we began to engage in what I thought was going to be lovemaking, was not that night. As I was performing oral sex on him, he began to thrust himself inside my mouth really hard. And I told him that was hurting. Then he grabbed my hair.
This testimony painted a picture of a relationship transformed from something that initially made Daniels feel valued into something emotionally and physically abusive. The defense would argue this demonstrated Perry's manipulative behavior, suggesting he exploited Daniels' emotional vulnerability while maintaining control. But the prosecution countered that regardless of Perry's treatment, nothing justified what Daniels would ultimately do. Then came April 2019. Perry abruptly ended the relationship, leaving Daniels in emotional devastation.
Daniels testified that she became suicidal when Perry unexpectedly ended the relationship, so she purchased a gun from Fort Thompson Sporting Goods in Arkansas. According to Daniels' testimony, she drove 2.5 hours to Perry's Collierville apartment because he told her he was going to tell his wife about the affair.
But according to Daniels, Perry reached out again. She testified that Perry told her he was finally going to tell his wife about their relationship, that he wanted Daniels to come to Memphis so they could all have a conversation. For Daniels, this represented hope. Maybe this was her chance for clarity. Maybe Perry would finally be honest. Maybe they could be together openly, or maybe this would be the definitive ending. Either way, she believed this meeting would provide resolution. But before making that drive, Daniels made a devastating decision. On the morning of April 4th, 2019, she walked into Fort Thompson Sporting Goods in Sherwood, Arkansas, and purchased a handgun and ammunition. Store owner Raymond Palladino later confirmed this transaction. She loaded that gun, got behind the wheel, and began the 2.5 to 3 hour drive to Collierville, Tennessee, where the Perrys lived. When Daniels arrived at the Meridian Place Apartments around 9 or 10 that evening, she knocked, claiming to be in Memphis for a conference. Tabitha Archie, recognizing Daniels from church events, including tennis and dance classes, welcomed her inside. The two women sat together, engaging in casual conversation, with Daniels maintaining the conference fiction.
When Tabitha let you into the apartment, did she close the door behind you?
Yes.
You and Tabitha were sitting alone in the apartment with a closed door, right?
Yes.
Would anybody outside of the apartment have been able to see in through that door?
No.
How long did you sit talking with Tabitha?
Again, I know the news ended up coming on, so maybe 15 minutes or so.
At any point, did you pull your gun out and threaten Tabitha?
No.
At any point, did you verbally threaten Tabitha?
No.
At any point, were you trying to hurt Tabitha?
Not at all.
Were you happy to be there about to have this conversation with Tabitha?
Yes.
Was Brodus there yet?
No.
Then Perry arrived home about 10 minutes later.
When he walked in the door, could you see him?
Yes.
Can you describe his demeanor when he saw you?
When he came in, he didn't look surprised or anything, which is what I thought he would do since he knew I was going to be there. But he was just like, I think Tab was like, surprise. And he was like, this not a surprise. I thought you had some keto cookies for me. And from there, he was like, what are you doing here?
According to Daniels, what happened next wasn't what she expected. Perry questioned her visit but never initiated the promised conversation.
After you accepted the pour of bourbon from him, did he make any comments about you drinking?
He came back and sat down, and as we were talking, he would make references to me drinking and would say, well, I think you're going to have to stay the night. So I'm thinking, okay, well, this is about to get into this conversation. But he never would give me eye contact. But he would continue to make, it's like, we have to clean off the bed in there because it has a lot of clothes on it. And, but I'm still looking at him to get, like, to see where you're going with this. But he never did lead into the conversation.
After about 10 minutes of tense discussion, Daniels realized Perry had no intention of following through.
Why did you decide to leave?
I saw that it wasn't going anywhere. Like I said, he was not giving me eye contact. So I knew, or I felt like he had changed his mind. And I just didn't want to keep sitting there feeling, at that point, stupid.
She announced she would leave, and as the three moved toward the door, with Archie leading, followed by Daniels and Perry, something inside Daniels snapped. What happened next unfolded in seconds, but would reverberate forever. As they approached the stairs, Daniels wheeled around, pulled the handgun from her coat, and began firing at Pastor Brodus Perry while crying out, "You broke my heart."
I was still trying to get him to walk me out, and as I reached into my pockets to get my keys, I remember being outside the door, and then the next thing, I was standing in their kitchen.
Do you deny that you shot Brodus Perry?
I do not.
Do you deny that you shot Tabitha?
I don't, but I know it wasn't intentional.
Did you mean to shoot Tabitha?
No, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
When you went to that apartment that day, did you intend to use your gun on either Brodus or Tabitha?
No.
Perry was struck multiple times, bullets hitting him in the head, abdomen, arm, and wrist. He collapsed immediately. Tabitha Archie attempted to shield her dying husband, but Daniels shot her in the shoulder, allegedly saying, "I didn't mean to." The bullet remained lodged in Archie's body for months, requiring surgery. Police arrived as Daniels was reloading. Captain Samuel Draper and officers found her pointing the gun at herself. When she refused commands to drop the weapon, Captain Draper used a less lethal shotgun to subdue her. Evidence collected included 7 shell casings, and when police cleared Daniels' weapon, remaining rounds were still loaded. Perry was rushed to the hospital but died the following day, April 5, 2019, at 36. The autopsy conducted by Dr. Erica Curry revealed a fatal gunshot wound to the head, 3 bullets to the abdomen with projectiles recovered from his spine, back, and hip, plus Gray's wounds on his arm and wrist. The manner of death was ruled homicide. The legal proceedings spanned over 6 years, delayed by countless continuances. Daniels spent 4 years in jail awaiting trial, time she used to author 2 books helping incarcerated mothers maintain connections with their children. She was granted $250,000 bail in February 2023 and released pre-trial in March. When the trial commenced in Shelby County Criminal Court in November 2025, Daniels faced charges of first-degree murder and employing a firearm during a dangerous felony. The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Kevin McAlpin, argued for premeditation, pointing to the gun purchase that morning, the interstate drive, and multiple shots fired. They emphasized that a broken heart doesn't justify murder. The defense team, comprised of attorneys Lauren Fuchs and Arthur Horn, pushed for voluntary manslaughter, painting Daniels as a victim of Perry's manipulation. They introduced videos where Perry discussed ethical non-monogamy, portraying him as deceptive. Daniels took the stand, claiming she had no memory of firing due to extreme emotional distress and expressing deep remorse. After closing arguments concluded on November 7, 2025, the jury deliberated for approximately 2 hours before reaching their verdict. They convicted Daniels of second-degree murder and reckless endangerment while acquitting her on the firearm charge. The second-degree murder conviction indicated that while the jury found the killing was knowing and intentional, they didn't find sufficient evidence of premeditation. Sentencing is scheduled for December 17, 2025. Daniels faces 15 to 25 years for second-degree murder and 2 to 4 years for reckless endangerment. The case has sparked discussions about maintaining boundaries in pastoral counseling, the consequences of hidden affairs, and the dangers of mixing spiritual guidance with intimate connections. Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church faced scrutiny over Perry's conduct, though focus remained on the human cost. Public reaction on social media has been varied, with some labeling Daniels using biblical terms while others pondered the complex emotional dynamics without excusing violence. Posts emphasized that haunting detail, "You broke my heart," sparking debates about accountability and manipulation. Do you think this death could have been avoided if Perry had confessed to his wife? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.